Have you ever been learning something new and just hit a wall? You're putting in the hours, you're trying your best, but you feel completely and utterly stuck. Well, what if I told you that feeling isn't a sign that you're failing? What if it's actually a landmark on a map? Today, we're diving into a really powerful framework for understanding exactly how we learn, and it's all based on the work of Marcela Vega dos Santos.
So our guide for this whole journey is her book, Learning with Consciousness. And what it does is lay out this super clear 5-stage process that can totally change the way you think about picking up any new skill. Doesn't matter if it's for your job, a new hobby, or just something for you. So let's explore this map together.
All right, let's start with this question, because we have all been there. That incredibly frustrating plateau where all your effort doesn't seem to lead to any progress. And what do? We usually blame ourselves, right? We think, oh, I just don't have the talent, or I'm not disciplined enough. But the real reason we feel that way is usually just a simple misunderstanding of how the learning process actually works.
And this quote, this gets right to the heart of it. That feeling of being stuck, it's not a dead end. It is a natural, totally legitimate part of the journey. The problem isn't your ability. It's that you don't have a map to show you where you are. So let's get you that map.
Think of this framework as a map for your brain. It shows you that successful learning isn't just about raw talent or grinding it out. The absolute key is becoming aware of where you are in the process, because that lets you use the right strategies for that specific stage.
And here it is, the 5 stages of learning. We start at unconscious incompetence, and we travel all the way to mastery. Now, it might look pretty simple on the screen, but trust me, understanding how you move between these stages is the secret to making learning so much more efficient and way less frustrating. So let's break down those first 2.
So this first part of the journey is all about making this huge leap from not even knowing a skill exists to suddenly becoming, sometimes painfully aware, of just how much you have to learn. This is the moment where real, intentional learning finally kicks off. Okay, so stage 1. We all begin here. You could call it a state of blissful ignorance. At this stage, you're not good at a skill, but you have no idea that you're not good at it. And it's not a bad thing. It's just the neutral starting line for every single thing you have ever learned in your entire life. And the driving analogy is just perfect for this. When you were a little kid, you had no concept of a blind spot or a clutch or anything like that. You didn't know that you didn't know how to drive. You were smack in the middle of stage 1. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Stage 2 is often the stage where people quit. This is that light bulb moment where you suddenly realize, oh wow, I am really, truly terrible at this. And yeah, it can feel discouraging, but that awareness, it's actually the most critical step forward you can take. It marks the official start of your learning journey.
So let's hop back in the car. The first time you actually sat behind the wheel, you were just flooded with the reality of how much you didn't know. 3 pedals, but you've only got 2 feet? All those mirrors? That feeling of being completely overwhelmed is the classic sign of stage 2. So to wrap up this first big leap, you move from blissful ignorance to what is often a pretty awkward and uncomfortable awareness. But recognizing that shift is not failure. It's the first major victory in learning consciously.
Okay, so you've survived the shock of stage 2. Now what? Well, the next 2 stages are where the real work happens. This is where you move from that clunky, deliberate effort to smooth, automatic execution. Let's see how that unfolds. Welcome to the grind. This is stage 3. Here, you can actually do the thing, but it takes every single ounce of your concentration. Progress can feel really slow here because you're busy refining the basics. This is a super important consolidation phase. You're on the road. You're actually driving, but your brain is running this constant checklist. Every single move is deliberate. You can't listen to music, you definitely can't have a conversation because all of your mental energy is focused on just driving the car. That is conscious competence. And then, one day, it just clicks. You hit stage 4, unconscious competence. The skill has basically moved from your conscious mind into your subconscious. It's become second nature. It's as easy as walking.
And this, right here, is the payoff. You're just cruising down the highway, you're navigating traffic, maybe you're chatting with a friend, and you are not consciously thinking about the mechanics of driving at all. Your brain has put the skill on autopilot, which frees you up to focus on other things. For most skills, this is the goal, but it's not the final stop on the map.
You see, there's one final stage that goes way beyond just doing something well. It's about a much deeper level of understanding and integration. This is the stage of mastery.
Mastery isn't some final destination. It's a continuous process. It's when the skill becomes a part of who you are. A master doesn't just do the skill perfectly. They understand the principles so deeply that they can adapt, improvise, and even teach it in totally new ways. It's all about constant, deliberate practice and reflection.
So, we've walked through all 5 stages. Now that you have the map, how do you actually use it to find your way on your own learning journey? Honestly, this is the most important part, because this is where awareness turns into action. Okay, so the very first step is to figure out what stage you're in right now. That helps you set realistic expectations for yourself. You can't demand stage 4 autopilot when you're just starting out in stage 2. Then you've got to reframe your mindset. You have to understand that feeling slow or clumsy is a normal part of stage 3. It just means your brain is busy building those new connections. And maybe most importantly, you need to see your mistakes not as failures, but as valuable data. An error isn't a judgment on you, it's a signpost telling you exactly what to work on next.
This right here is the fundamental shift. When you have this map, you stop beating yourself up. You move from a place of self-judgment to a place of strategic observation. The question completely changes. It goes from a frustrating, "Why can't I get this?" to a powerful and productive, "Okay, what does this stage require of me?"
So I'll leave you with this. Think about something you're learning right now. Could be a language, a piece of software, a new part of your job. Where are you on this map? And now that you know, what is the one single conscious adjustment you can make today to match your effort to your stage?